Episode 1 of Darwin's Game came out today, and thus this day officially starts Winter of Anime 2020 and a whole new decade of shows that many of us are going to discover and potentially become our favorites of all time, and probably have a lot of shifts and trends that we never thought was possible within the anime community. But for now, though, let's talk about this. So, when I was doing my What I Will Watch the other day, I looked at this and I said that I would give it a shot. And as I said with my New Year's resolution, I want to give everything I said I would try, at least a first impressions, give it a watch to see if I like it or not, and even if I don't like it, etc., or like it, I want to put a video up on it, and that is why I'm doing Darwin's Game. Because I want to be honest with you, when I watched this, I didn't really expect much from it going in. I'm going to be honest, 100%. Like, I was interested, but I didn't think it was going to be anything that was going to blow me away, etc. That was my overall thoughts before I started this first episode. And I'll talk about what it's about, everything in just a second, but that was my initial thoughts before I even saw it. Now, anyways, what is Darwin's Game about? In case you haven't watched my What I Will Watch, or you haven't peeked the list, etc., basically, Darwin's Game is a battle royale survival game. This is something that I think many have seen once or twice in their time of watching anime, unless you're relatively new to anime or you never really mess with this genre. Darwin's Game is pretty much like Mirai Nikki or Future Diary for the English term. Darwin's Game is that. However, there is some differences in comparison to, let's say, Danganronpa, or, you have, Future Diary. But overall, when it comes to the presentation of the story, it is nothing, I guess, it doesn't break the mold. It doesn't really shift anything into a new way that is, different, that will really shock you. So, if you're someone that has read the manga, different manga that's very similar to this, or watched anime, I don't think you're probably going to get anything relatively new from Darwin's Game. So if you're not into this genre, automatically, I don't think you should probably watch the first episode, because it's probably not going to be for you, because it really houses every single cliche that this genre kind of has. Now, anyways, to get right into it, what separates this from, let's say, Danganronpa or Future Diary? Well, despite, the similarities to both series, the big difference that you get from this is that it is a gacha game. That's legit what this is. Now, I don't know if there is other anime or manga quite like this in terms of using a gacha game as a, battle royale death game, but regardless, it's my first time ever seeing it. And it's pretty interesting seeing how loot boxes are literally incorporated into this story and how characters could potentially one-up each other. So, example, let's say two characters are going up against each other. They're having their, death game with each other. Whoever, is the last man standing basically wins, and the one that loses obviously dies, etc. Pretty much you have it to where, before these fights begin, they can roll a loot box with the points they get from their wins. They accumulate up, and they have a chance of getting, let's say, a baseball bat, a gun, etc. They can get, random things, probably armor, whatever, but at the same time, with these rolls you might get something that's completely garbage. You might get, let's say, a piece of paper or something. So when you really think about it like that, it's interesting to see that they're in a gacha game. Like, they're playing a gacha game with their life on the line. It's not just, let's say, their wallets that are on the line. It's actually, let's say, their life on the line. So it's fascinating. It is definitely a fascinating, I guess, way to handle this type of genre of anime. So that did catch my interest. Now, when it comes to the main character, to what the plot is doing with the first episode, I'm a little bit on the fence about it. The MC is definitely a step up from the normal MC from this genre, because normally when it comes to this genre, like, let's say, a death game, survival game, whatever, you have to where the MC, the main male character usually, is just straight up incompetent, scaredy cat, crybaby, etc. That's usually what you get most of the time, and you have it to where, let's say, another character has to come in to really save the day and basically hold the hand of this individual, or MC, throughout the majority of the series until he's able to build up a spine to fight back for himself. That's pretty much kind of where these stories normally go. However, this case, we don't have that. The MC is actually very competent. He actually is able to put his foot forward and fight back, etc. Even if he doesn't want to harm anyone, etc., kill anyone, he does actually show a level of competence that is very, very nice to see. It actually made me really appreciate Darwin's game because of that element, because I was really worried that this MC was going to be a scaredy cat, crybaby, etc., kind of like the MC from Future Diary, but it didn't turn out that way. However, another similarity, though, that you'll see is the main female character. Usually, when you see these type of series, when you have, let's say, a Death Games rival game, you have a crazy female character, main female character, yandere. And it seems like we might have a character that is definitely a crazy yandere female character. And what's interesting, though, is she doesn't really have pink hair. Normally, when it comes to yanderes, they have pink hair, but in this case, she doesn't, so she's not really fitting that normal, like, character type that you would see. But she definitely had a very interesting shift in personality in comparison to how she was acting throughout the majority of the episode. I want to get right into that. So basically, the final half of the episode pits our MC up against the main female character, and you're left wondering what's going to happen next. Is he going to have to kill her? Is she going to join his side and stop? Is someone going to interrupt? And obviously she joins his side, but the thing though is that there was really no build-up whatsoever for her drastic personality shift towards the end. She literally went from someone like, I'm going to kill you and all that, to, oh, let's make a family together. And I'm just like, huh? Like, legit, I'm not joking, that's what exactly happened. For instance, she literally goes from that. She goes from, I'm gonna kill you, to, let's make a family. Literally in probably the span of a couple minutes, or less than a couple minutes. Like, there was no build-up, there was nothing. And I'm just like, this personality shift is just very jarring. And it's not necessarily the anime studio's fault, it's just the mangaka, you know, the writer of the story. Because I believe this is not anime original, so it's not necessarily the studio's fault or the anime's fault, it's just the original content that's kind of like, what? So, that's interesting. So, anyways, the big point I want to get into is that Darwin's game is fascinating to a certain degree, but I don't think it's going to be anything that is going to, let's say, break the mold and bring anything interesting or new to anime. I don't think it's going to be really a trend starter. I don't think it's really going to be anything that's going to be, you know, the best of the best when it comes to this type of genre, but I do think that if you're one of those individuals that wants something to watch and you don't really care too much about things that make sense, like 100% sense, then I think you will enjoy this story, especially if you like, you know, Battle Royale, you know, survival, death games, etc. shows, you're probably going to like this. But if you don't, well, like I said, you're not going to like it. Now, there is one last thing I want to talk about before I wrap up this video, and that is the fact that apparently, from what I heard, is that the animators are severely understaffed for Darwin's game, which is kind of surprising, honestly, because this actually had really good animation. It really did. Like, it wasn't the best, okay? It's no Somali, which, you know, I'm going to be reviewing too today, but it was pretty good, especially finding out that they were, like, only 6 animators or whatever that was working on this. It's kind of, like, crazy, honestly. A full, like, 47-minute episode only had, like, 6 animators from what I heard. And that's just ridiculous. That's really ridiculous to think about, especially with how it looked good. I mean, there was obviously some scenes that were questionable, like some of the characters kind of, their models of their faces kind of looked really weird in portions of the episode, and also there was a really weird scene with slow motion that seemed to just drag on for like 40 seconds that really did not make much sense at all. I mean, I know they were trying to build up tension and kind of display the MC thinking very fast, quick on his feet, but I just felt like it didn't really do a good job. It just looked very slow, like it was too slow, and it was more laughable than serious or tense, because I know that's kind of what it looked like to me. I was more of just amused and laughing at the scene. It turned it kind of into a comedy. That's something that made me feel, you know, tensed up and like, oh crap, I feel bad for our character, he's about to die. Also, one last thing, we have this girl that apparently has figured out his power, but his power is like unknown. It's a completely different type of power. So there is like power archetypes or whatever within the story. So yeah, our MC is apparently very busted and strong. I'm probably going to check out the second episode, and depending on where the second episode is, depends if I want to continue or not. I'm not going to promise a episode review on episode 2. I just wanted to kind of get my thoughts out on Darwin's game, see how it is, etc. And so far, it's okay. It's okay. Like, it's not bad, but it's not necessarily good either. It's just a straight up okay/meh. That's about it. That's my honest thoughts. So anyways, I want to leave it at that. You all have a very wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you got this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.